Hi everyone and welcome back. Now in this video we're going to add in a table next to our decomposition tree. And it's going to show the year, month, the sales value, the month on month percent change in sales value and the year to date sales value. So first let's just add in a table, and under visualizations you can see here we have the option of a table. So I'll just click on this, and while we've clicked into table we can start dragging in our fields into columns that we want to show. So we'll start with the order date. Now it's going to show it at a daily level, but we can just remove day, and we'll also remove quarter so that it's just showing the year and the month. And then the next one we'll bring in is the sales value. So it'll automatically sum the sales value at a monthly level. Okay, now for the next calculation, it's going to be the month on month percent change. And Power BI has the option to show this. There's a quick measure that we can create. So if you right click on sales value, or at the top here, there's the option for quick measure. So we'll just click new quick measure, and under calculations, if we scroll down, we have a month over month change option here under time intelligence. You can see how many different quick calculations we can choose from. So let's just choose a month over month change, and the sum of sales value will be our base value, and then for date we will use our order date. And then if we click on add, you'll see the calculation that creates the month over month percent change. So I'll just remove this, and then you can see month on month is showing up now as a new field in our data. Okay, so let's just drag this in then to our columns, and now we have a percent change from the previous month. So we can see which months had a high, like a more than double percent change here in October 2003, and a big drop off in December 2003. And then for our final column, we'll want to show a sales value year to date, and it's going to be done in a similar way. We just click on new measure, quick measure at the top, and then under calculations, year to date total. And then for our base value, we're going to add in the sum of the sales value. And then for the date, again, it will be our order date. And then once we click add, it's going to again show us the calculation, and then we can just close out of this and then drag our year to date sales value into columns, and now it's going to show up. So let's just close our quick measure pane, and then we may need to make our table a little bit bigger, but we're actually displaying many decimal places here, so we're going to change this. So again, on the left hand side, we can go into our model view, and just our year to date calculation that we've created, we can just change the format to be custom, and then we'll have to just remove all our hashes that make it multiple decimal places. And then if we close out of this calculation and go back, now it's at 2 decimal places, so it's much easier to see. And one other thing I would like to do here is, before we format this, is just remove our final months here that have no data really. So to do that, we just need to right click them and exclude. So let's just expand filters here while we've clicked into it, and you'll see what filters are currently exist in this table, but you'll notice that once we start right clicking and excluding them, they will show up in our filters as excluded. So we'll just do this for the months which have no data, and we won't show June either. Okay, and then now everything fits in the page, which is what we want. We can even just make it a bit smaller and move it over. Oh, I've accidentally ordered that, so just be careful not to tick the column name, or it would order by the sales value, but I want to order it by the month and year. Okay, so now we're ready to format our table. So if we just click into format your visual, we'll start with our background. So under effects, we can just turn our background off. And then we'll work on our visuals. I'm just going to hide our filters here. But yeah, this is where we'll format our cells, the background of our cells actually. So if we click into values, you'll see the background color has our two, there's an alternate background color, but we just want to keep them both the same as what our canvas will be. Actually, I'm going to make this table the same color as our rectangle. So I'll just copy this hash code and we'll put it into our background color. And then we need to do the same for our alternate background color. And then actually under general, we'll turn our background on and we'll make the color the same. Okay, and then from here, let's go back to our visual and just change our text color to be our white. And it's going to have to be the same for our alternate text color. Yep, and then we can see everything. So I might change this a little in the later, but first we'll leave it like this for now. And I want to hide our grid lines. I don't want to see these. And then also this blue line at the bottom, it's not a grid line, it's actually our border. And you can see the color here. So we can just match this color as well to be the same as our background. Okay, our grand totals are still being displayed there as well. They're very hard to see because they're in a different font, but let's just remove them also. Yep, we can just untick our totals so they were actually on the right on the bottom. Now we can even move our table over to the right further. Okay, and then for column headers, background color will be the same, and text color, I'll maybe make my text color be our teal color. Okay, I might change the name of these columns as well just to be cleaner. So let's go back to build visual. So yeah, I think year and month is fine, but sum of sales value, if you remember from our last video, we can just change these. So I'll just change this to be sales value. And then our second one will be sales value MoM %. Oh. Yep, I could leave it like that. Oh, I've clicked away. Just remember to click enter or it won't save. And then for the last one, it'll just be sales value YTD. Okay. Okay, I think it looks a bit better like that. The final thing I'll maybe just do is just make this table a bit smaller and move it to the right. And I'll maybe just center our column headers. Yeah, just so month is in the center, it really just changed month. And then we can add a title here as well, if we like. Under general, we can add the title which says sales overview. We'll just need to make it a white color and center it. We could even add a divider just so there's a little bit of a gap or spacing. Just so there's a bit of space below the title. So let's bring it to 10. Yeah, and then I think that looks fine. Okay, so that is it for our table. And now we have two dashboard sheets. So let's just add a button that navigates between them. in the next video, and we'll also add our filters into our first page. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.